Hello, everybody. My name is Ryan Koki of the Seahawk Recap Show, and welcome to the first playoff game recap of the 2025-2026 NFL playoffs. It's finally here, and we're talking about game one, Panthers versus Rams, the second seed versus the fourth seed, I think, or no, the fourth seed versus the fifth seed, regardless. And man, what a game to start off this year's playoffs. So, without me rambling on too much more in the intro, let's get in to recapping the first game of the wild card round. Panthers versus Rams. If you like this video, please consider giving a like. It lets me know if I'm doing a good job with these videos or not. And if you'd like to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any more Seahawks content or any playoff content, that would be greatly appreciated. As we get to the game summary, the Rams win it out on the road 34 to the Panthers 31. And let's start off with the Panthers because they were the home team. They had a total of 333 yards, 250 passing yards, 83 rushing yards, averaged 5.2 yards per play, 21 first downs. They went 5 for 12 on third down, went 0 for 3 on fourth down, had 64 total plays, 2 sacks allowed, 3 punts, 4 penalties for 35 yards given up, 1 fumble lost by Travis Etienne on a muffed punt return, and 1 interception thrown by Bryce Young to Durant. And I don't believe that's his fault. We'll get into that. But the Panthers ended off the day with 28 minutes and 14 seconds of possession time. For the LA Rams, they had a total of 411 total yards, 295 yards passing, 116 yards rushing, averaged 5.7 yards per play, 21 first downs. They went 3 for 13 on third down, went 1 for 2 on fourth down, had 72 total plays, 1 sack, 5 punts, 9 penalties for 83 yards given up, 0 fumbles lost, and the 1 interception thrown by Matthew Stafford, picked off by Mike Jackson. And he could have had another one in there. The Rams ended off the day with 31 minutes and 46 seconds of possession time. For Ryan's Folks players, let's talk about the Panthers. QB Bryce Young, 21 for 40, 264 yards passing, 1 touchdown to Jalen Coker, and of course, the 1 interception in the first half by Kobe Durant. And let's talk about the interception. First, get that out of the way. The interception was not Bryce Young's fault. It's just a miscommunication by Jalen Coker and Bryce Young on a simple levels concept where Bryce Young thought Jalen Coker was going to be somewhere. He was going to continue his route, and he just didn't because he was getting pressured from not only Kobe Durant, who he's being covered by, but also contested by Quentin Lake as well. So that's why that pick resulted. But Bryce Young, first playoffs of his young career, and first time under Dave Canales that he gets in the playoffs as well. And honestly, Bryce Young had an amazing game yesterday night. It was something brilliant because he made the pass that he needed to. He only gave up the one mistake. And honestly, he was running for his life the entire game. The Rams' defensive front with Jared Verse and Byron Young and a bunch of their other guys like Braden Fisk were making it a tough time on this Panthers O line, and they made sure to make Bryce as uncomfortable in the pocket as possible in that first half. That's why they jumped out to a huge lead in the first half. And then the Panthers just came back, made some second half adjustments that almost ended up winning this game. It was a back and forth game. So great game from Bryce Young. You get to running back Chuba Hubbard, 13 carries for 46 yards, averaging 3.5 yards per carry, the two touchdowns. Chuba Hubbard lost his starting job to Rico Dowdle for the majority of this season because he was injured. He comes into the playoffs and he's cemented himself into taking back his starting job, getting the two touchdowns and having a pretty decent day himself. Chuba Hubbard is a very good running back. He's been a good running back for the Panthers for a very long time in the system. People just don't usually talk about him, but I think his two touchdowns and his very, very aggressive or back run between the tackles kind of style really lends himself to a good Panthers system. Good game from him. And we get to the man of the hour, the man that was undrafted in 2024, I believe, Jalen Coker. What a legacy game for him in his first playoff action. 9 receptions, 134 yards, averaged 14.9 yards per reception, had the 52-yard longest catch of the game. And man, Bryce Young and Jalen Coker were on the same page. As soon as Bryce Young threw that interception, he got on the sideline, and I'm betting he talked to Jalen Coker and they got themselves on the same page, and that was Bryce Young's favorite target outside of General McMillan. But what a fantastic player Jalen Coker is. He really showed up in this game. The catch that he made in the end zone to put the Panthers up, and it's just a thing of beauty when he was working against Cameron Curl on that corner route in the end zone. And you know what? He gave the Panthers the best chance to win last night. So good game from Jalen Coker. Let's get to the Panthers defense. D lineman, D tackle, Derek Brown, 4 solo tackles, 1 assisted, no sacks, no forced fumbles. But Derek Brown, I'm going to give him credit on having Matthew Stafford get uncomfortable in that second half and throw that pick to Mike Jackson. He gets credit. He basically gets an assist on that pick because he blocked Matthew Stafford's vision, and that's why it was picked off by Mike Jackson in the first place. And Derek Brown, man, the Panthers defense really came out sluggish in that first little bit, in that first half. And, as you watch the Rams, as a Seahawks fan, if you let the Rams take advantage of those opportunities, they're going to score it. They have a very high powered offense. But something happened in that second half where the Panthers defense just turned it on and they started to come back in this game because both sides of the ball were clicking. And I think Derek Brown was a big part of that because he was getting pressure finally. That front was getting pressure finally on Matthew Stafford, making it uncomfortable for him. So good game from Derek Brown. Let's get to corner DB Mike Jackson. 1 solo tackle, 1 assisted, the 1 pick, no sacks on the day. But Mike Jackson has found his way into the Panthers system where he's found a home here as a second string corner. And man, seeing what he's doing with the Panthers compared to the Seahawks when he was in Seattle, it's night and day difference. This guy has really done well, and he is all over the field. His season this year was very impressive, but in this game, he's stopping guys like Puka Nacua. He's stopping guys like Devontae Adams. The only reason why the Panthers have so many passing yards against the Panthers is because they were throwing it inside the numbers, inside the middle against linebackers. If they threw the outside, it was a much different story, and that's because of Mike Jackson and J.C. Horn and the others. Good game from Mike Jackson as a former Seattle Seahawk. Nice to see one of our players getting they're due in a starting role. And let's get to linebacker, outside linebacker, DJ Wadham. Two solo tackles, three assisted, zero sacks, zero interceptions. And the reason why I'm highlighting DJ Wadham here is because in the second half of this game, he made a crucial play. He got through the line and he hit Matthew Stafford, gave him a little nudge, and he hurt his hand. He made Matthew Stafford hurt his throwing hand. I believe it was like his pinky or his middle finger that he hurt. And that changed the Panthers' fortunes because in the second half of this game, Matthew Stafford looked mortal. That's where he threw the pick and almost threw another one in this one. So, great pressure from DJ Wadham. He's been on the Panthers for a very long time, and he is a very good, youthful outside linebacker for this Panthers pass rush. Let's get to the Rams. Matthew Stafford, 24 for 42, 304 total yards, three touchdowns, the one pick by Mike Jackson, where he basically couldn't see where he was throwing the ball and it got intercepted. And you look at Matthew Stafford this game, the first quarter of this game, he basically lit the stat sheet up. He was 8 for 8, and he put on a very good clinic. There's a reason why he's in MVP candidate conversations. And he looked mortal in the second half, like I was saying, because of his injured finger or whatever the case was, but he still put up 300 yards of passing. He still put up three touchdowns. He had the one blemish, yes, but the Colby Parkinson touchdown to end this game, his finger wasn't bothering him there. He made a spectacular throw as the gunslinger we all know him to be, and he put his team on his back to win this game. Great game for Matthew Stafford, handling the pressure. We know he's got the toughness and moxie to win in the playoffs as he is a Super Bowl champion with the Rams. So it's going to be very interesting to see who they play in the divisional round. Good game from Matthew Stafford. Let's get to running back Kyren Williams, 13 for 57, 4.4 yards averaged per rush, zero touchdowns. And Kyren Williams and Blake Corum really got going on the ground a little bit, but they didn't really have too many explosive runs. I believe their longest runs between the two running backs were 8 yards long. So that's another tip of the cap to the Panthers defense. But still, Kyren Williams just doing his job, being a workhorse, getting the 13 carries that he needed to, getting the yardage that he needed to help the Rams in specific spots. And, the Rams were down in the second half. So most of this yardage came within the first half of the game. Good game from Kyren Williams. Regardless, they're going to need him and Blake Corum for the remainder of the playoffs. And let's get to wide receiver Puka Nacua, 11 receptions, 111 yards, 11.1 yards averaged, the one touchdown. Man, I'm going to talk about the first drive of this game because it was so insane. The Panthers start off with the ball. They go for it on fourth down. They lose it. They turn it over on downs. Then Puka Nacua just goes God mode. And there's a reason why he is one of the best wide receivers this year alongside of JSN. The offensive player of the year could go to either two of those wide receivers, and it would be insane to see. So you look at Puka Nacua, you look at some of the catches he made, it was three catches on that opening drive, and he scores a touchdown. And he just does it in bunches. He's just not afraid to go over the middle. He knows the weak spots in this Panthers team. And when he goes across the middle, he's going to get a billion yards. And, you put him up against the linebacker, that's bad news. So Great game from Puka Nakua. His speed, his ability to run his routes so effectively that he can get open on most plays for Matthew Stafford, for a gunslinger quarterback that's still in the league like Matthew Stafford at 37. That is such a very good weapon to have. Good game from Puka Nakua. Let's get to the Rams defense. D lineman Braden Fisk, two solo tackles, the one sack, no forced fumbles. And I'm going to talk about Braden Fisk because he is one of the young players on this Rams team under Dave Shula that is insane. It really sucks being a Seahawks fan because we have to see this team twice a year play against my Seahawks, and Braden Fisk is just that much of a problem and a disruptor, along with other guys like Jalen Verse and Byron Young. But, Braden Fisk got the sack in this game, and his defensive front was putting pressure on Bryce Young all game long. The Panthers O line couldn't hold up for him a lot. And um, Bryce Young had to run for his life on the majority of the throws he was making. So that's a good game from the D lineman, Braden Fisk, and the whole D line in general. Let's get to DB safety. Quinton Lake, four solo tackles, two assisted, zero sacks, zero interceptions. And Quinton Lake comes back after suffering a hamstring injury, I believe. He missed, a couple of games here and there down the stretch. And seeing this defense without Quinton Lake and then seeing this defense with Quinton Lake, he is a very, very talented safety. He plays in the box. He can play high. He can play anywhere on the field. He reminds me a lot of Nicky Memori and what Mike McDonald is doing with him in his deployment. But this guy got an extension for a reason this year, and he showed up in this game. Four solo tackles, two assisted, stopping Chuba Hubbard on most of his solo tackles today. And he's not afraid to hit. He made sure that the one mistake that Bryce Young did in the interception, Quinton Lake kind of forced that because Jalen Coker would not have stopped that route if Quinton Lake wasn't there to at least put phantom pressure and say, I'm going to hit you if you catch this ball. So watch out. That's what made Jalen Coker hesitate on the interception, and that's why the interception resulted. So good game from Quinton Lake. Let's talk about linebacker Nate Lehman, five solo tackles, five assisted, leading the team in tackles this game, zero sacks, zero interceptions. And Nate Lehman, another guy that the Rams pick up. He's turning into a stud linebacker for them. And he showed up in this game as well. He's all over the field during this game, and he's making the tackles that are needed, both in the passing game and in the run game. Great game from Nate Lehman. As we get to my final thoughts and my thoughts on the game, what a game these two teams had to start off the wild card round of the playoffs. For the Rams, you guys move on. That final drive for Matthew Stafford is why I believe he is an MVP this season. It's between him and Drake May, but he's had 53 game-winning drives in his entire career, the most among active QBs rather, in the NFL. And there's a reason for it, man. He got banged up in this game, obviously. And he still, again, put up 300 yards. He's still putting in a really good game. And, it was just the boundary that was an issue for him. But he can read and diagnose defenses better than anyone in this league, I think. And there's a reason why he is an MVP frontrunner this season. For Carolina, you guys should be so proud of how you played in this game, because the majority of your team does not have playoff experience. And you almost beat the Rams, one of the most high-powered offenses in the NFL, and in the NFC. That's coming from a Seahawks fan who has to face them twice a year. They are a very, very good team. So you guys almost beaten them, and only losing by 3 points is insane. So guys, you should take take your notepad, write some things down on what could be improved. And honestly, I don't think this is the last time we see the Panthers in the playoffs. I don't think this is a flash in the pan. I think if you get back in the playoffs next year, then you guys are going to have a very, um, you know, very good idea of what to expect in this playoff atmosphere, and you could actually win with Dave Canales as your head coach. I think he did a very good job in this one. But anyways, that is it for this first playoff game recap of this 2025-2026 playoffs. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Anyways, take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will have another playoff game recap and some more content coming out for you guys very soon.